Why won't my child just calm down? You've asked it in your head, maybe out loud, maybe through gritted teeth in a supermarket aisle while people stared. It feels like a simple question, but here's the thing. The answer isn't about your child at all. It's about what's happening inside their brain during those moments. And once you understand what's actually going on in there, the question stops being, how do I stop this? And becomes something completely different. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about a word you've probably never heard. A word that explains why parents in one country seem to navigate this whole thing differently and why their children statistically come out the other side with something most kids in the West are still being taught at age 10. The word is mimamoru. It comes from Japanese. Mi meaning watch, mamoru meaning guard or protect. Together, watch and protect. It sounds simple. It is not. Mimamoru is a pedagogical strategy that means a deliberate teaching method used across early childhood education in Japan. It was studied formally by Dr. Fuminori Nakatsubo, an early childhood specialist at Hiroshima University, who brought together 34 Japanese educators and 12 American educators to watch it in action and discuss what they saw. What the American educators saw confused them. A child was upset, dysregulated, mid-conflict, and the Japanese teacher did nothing. Not nothing in the sense of ignoring, nothing in the sense of deliberately not intervening, staying close, staying calm, watching with full attention while the child worked through it. The American educator's first instinct was to step in, to fix it, to stop it. The Japanese educators asked, why would you interrupt what the child is learning right now? That difference, that gap between those two instincts is the entire conversation. So why does staying calm and watching actually work? Because of what's happening inside your child's brain during a tantrum. And this is where most parenting advice skips a step. Your child's brain has two key players in moments of emotional overload. The first is the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. Fast, reactive, ancient. The moment your child feels threatened by a loud noise, a sudden change, a boundary, sheer exhaustion, the amygdala fires. The second is the prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, the part responsible for logic, self-control, reasoning, and emotional regulation. Here's the problem. In young children, the prefrontal cortex is not finished developing. In fact, it doesn't fully mature until around age 25. So when the amygdala fires, when the alarm goes off, it doesn't just activate, it takes over. It limits access to the prefrontal cortex almost entirely. Researchers at McBrain describe it this way. The child goes from calm to chaos in seconds, not because they chose to, but because the downstairs brain seized control and the upstairs brain went offline. They are not giving you a hard time. They are having a hard time. And here is the critical implication that changes everything. You cannot reason with a brain that is currently in survival mode. Explaining, threatening, bargaining, punishing, all of these require the prefrontal cortex, which is the exact part of the brain that is unavailable. So when you raise your voice trying to stop a meltdown, you are not solving the problem. You are adding to it because a dysregulated adult cannot regulate a dysregulated child. That's not an opinion. That's neuroscience. This brings us to Dr. Bruce Perry, child psychiatrist, neuroscientist, author of What Happened to You. Perry spent decades studying how the brain responds to stress, in children especially, and he developed what he called the 3 R's: regulate, relate, reason. The sequence matters more than the words. First, regulate. Before anything else, the nervous system needs to come down from high alert, not through commands, not through threats, through safety signals, your calm body, your lowered voice, your physical presence without demand. Dr. Perry is direct about this. You learn best when you're regulated, and the inverse is equally true. You cannot learn, connect, or respond when you're not. Second, relate. Once the child has begun to settle, not after, not before, you connect. You name what they felt. That was really frustrating. You make them feel seen, not judged. You move from the alarm to the relationship. Third, reason. Only here, only after the nervous system is calm and the child feels safe, do you address the behavior, correct it, discuss it, teach the lesson. The mistake most parents make, they start at step 3. In the middle of the storm, with a child whose thinking brain is completely offline, they try to reason, and when the child can't respond, they escalate, and the child escalates back. And suddenly both people in the room are running on amygdala. This is not a parenting failure. It's a biology problem. Now, here's what will stop you cold. Mimamoru, that Japanese practice of watching and protecting without immediately intervening, follows the exact same sequence Perry identified. Without ever having read Perry's research, when a Japanese educator watches a child move through a conflict without stepping in, they are giving the child's nervous system space to regulate itself. They are not abandoning the child. They are staying present, watchful, calm, close, while the child's own brain learns to come back down. The underlying belief identified by researchers Bamba and Haight in their study of Japanese child welfare practices is something the Japanese call anshin. Anshin roughly translates to a felt sense of safety and acceptance. It is the emotional state a child enters when they know, not because they were told, but because they have repeatedly experienced it, that the adult nearby is calm, that the world is not collapsing, and that what they are feeling right now is not dangerous. Under anshin, the child doesn't need to be forced to regulate. They begin to regulate because they feel safe enough to. This is what mimamoru creates, not compliance, not silence through fear. A nervous system that learns through repetition, through experience, that big emotions pass, that the adult stays, that calm always follows the storm. So what does this actually look like at home? Because watch and protect without intervening is a philosophy. You need something to do with your hands. This is where Perry's 3 R's become practical. The next time a tantrum starts before you say a word, run this sequence. Step 1, check yourself first. Your nervous system is the intervention. Take a breath, drop your shoulders, lower your voice before you open your mouth. You cannot co-regulate a child while you are dysregulated. Step 2, stay close without demanding. Move toward your child. Get low physically, don't grab, don't force, don't speak yet. Your calm, close body is sending a signal the amygdala can actually receive. You are not in danger. Step 3, let the wave move through. Tantrums have a biological arc. They rise, they peak, they fall. Fighting the peak makes it higher. Staying present through it shortens it. This is mimamoru in real time. You are watching and protecting, not fixing. Step 4, when the storm passes, relate. Not immediately. When you see the breathing slow, the body soften, the eyes find yours again, then you connect. That felt really big, didn't it? No correction yet. Just recognition. Step 5, reason later when you're both calm. This is where the lesson lives. Not during, not right after, later when the upstairs brain is back online and the child can actually hear you. That's the method. 5 steps. No yelling required. No magic. Just a sequence that works with your child's brain instead of against it. Now, here's the honest part. Mimamoru is not effortless. The Porter and Tanabe study at Washington State University, which analysed Japanese parenting magazines over 4 years, found that the mimamoru approach can actually increase maternal stress, especially in defiant situations. Staying calm when your child is screaming in a grocery store is one of the hardest physical feats a human being can perform. This method asks more of you in the short term. But here's what it builds over time. When you consistently respond to your child's emotional storms with regulation instead of escalation, their brain learns the pattern. The amygdala starts to associate your presence with safety rather than threat. The arc of tantrums shortens. The frequency drops. not because you suppress the emotions, because you taught the nervous system that emotions are survivable, that is not the same thing as control. That is something far more durable. That is a child who, when they are 10 and 20 and 40, knows from the inside of their body that big feelings don't have to mean catastrophe, because someone showed them that over and over without saying a word. So back to the question we started with, why won't my child just calm down? The answer is because they can't yet. Their brain is not built for it yet. The circuitry isn't mature. The skill is still being constructed, and it gets constructed not through punishment, not through yelling, not through reasoning in the middle of chaos. It gets constructed through a regulated adult who stays present long enough for the child's nervous system to learn this is what calm feels like. That is the Japanese method. That is the neuroscience. And that is something you can start today. I'll see you in the next one.